Thank you for tuning in to the Brasel Real Estate Broadcast, where each week we will be covering today's real estate news, tips, tricks, and trends in the Kansas City real estate market. Hosted by the Brasel Real Estate Group at RE/MAX Heritage, out of Blue Springs, Missouri. And here's today's host.
Hi, this is Tricia Dygert, team leader for the Brasel Real Estate Group here at RE/MAX Heritage, and I'm here today with Alicia Harwood, once again.
Yes.
And today we're going to mix it up a little bit, and we're just going to do our segment called Real Talk. And so basically today we're just going to kind of interview each other and allow you guys to get a little insight into us as individuals. So Alicia gets to be on the hot spot first, and I'm so thankful for that. So here we go. So Alicia, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Orange County, California, right next to Anaheim in a small little city called Stanton.
So she's a good California girl.
Yep.
What kind of things did you do before you got into real estate?
I did some accounting. I did bookkeeping. I started doing that when I was 15 years old at a small locksmith shop. And then I also worked at Home Depot as a cashier for a couple of years from like 18 to 20. And that was actually probably a really fun job.
I actually think Home Depot's pretty cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
What time period did you start coming into real estate, and what brought you to real estate?
Yeah, so in 2000, I had a friend in California that said, hey, let's get into real estate. So I went to the college and took some real estate classes, and at that time, I didn't pursue it. I actually had a boyfriend who told me that I was too young and wouldn't be successful in it. So sadly, I did not pursue it at that time. But later, when we moved out here to Missouri, I went on a couple of interviews after being a stay-at-home mom, and I was lucky enough to get a really great starting position on a team in real estate.
And luckily, you moved out here with not that boyfriend.
Yes. He was gone.
So, how's it been in real estate? Do you love it? Is it like dream job? What kind of things do you think about it?
I do love it. It is a tough job, you know. There's a lot that we do and a ton of hats that we wear. We do everything from, we're running our own business. Marketing has to be a really strong asset that we have. And then completely generating our business and taking it all the way to closing and doing it over again with every client. So I love it. I couldn't imagine doing anything else at this point. There's a lot of joy when you help someone find their right home and you get to see their family move in and just how happy they are. So yeah, I love it, and it's definitely gratifying.
Awesome. So what is the funniest thing that has ever happened to you in real estate?
Ooh, man, there's, so many things that happen. Probably, going to a showing and having someone there that wasn't supposed to be there is probably one of the funniest but also scary times. Right. We request a showing, the showing gets approved, we show up, and as we're walking in, someone is sleeping on the couch. So that's one. And then probably one that was even a little bit more funny is I was showing a vacant home, but it was packed with stuff, and my client was standing outside talking on the phone. Well, I come in, and there is a headless mannequin standing up in the bathroom. Gosh. I screamed so loud, but I didn't realize I was actually the one screaming for a second because the head was next to the body on the ground. So that's actually probably the funniest, but scared the heck out of me for a second because, it took a little minute to realize it was actually a mannequin.
Right, and it was only funny later.
Yeah, it was funny later when my client walked in and was, and I said, don't be afraid of the mannequin in the bathroom.
I didn't do it. All right, so now we're going to do a couple questions that are non-real estate related. So the first one, Alicia, is what inspires you?
So I get inspiration from the opportunity to grow. Books inspire me, self-help books. They sometimes be boring, but they're also inspirational. Pinterest, sometimes I'll go on there when I'm looking for some inspiration. and being outside near water is something that gives me a lot of inspiration also.
Awesome. All right. So this is a strange question, but, we did these surprise questions. So cats or dogs, and why?
Oh, cats all the time. I've got dogs right now, no cats. But cats are so independent, and I just love that so much. It makes it a little easier when you're going on vacation. You can, if you're going to be gone for a couple of days, you just put out some food and water and have somebody check on them. But dogs are a little bit more maintenance, so cats all the way.
So do you agree that cats are more like women and dogs are more like men?
Yep.
All right. The last question, Alicia, is if you won the lottery tomorrow, what would you do?
I would buy a house on the water and, help some of my friends and family for sure, and put it away to invest it and be set. And I'd probably still do real estate.
Because otherwise you'd be bored.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Got to have something to do. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Alicia.
Yeah. Thank you. Good questions. All right, now it's my turn to ask the questions, and Tricia's on the hot seat. So, Tricia, where did you grow up?
So, I grew up actually in Napoleon, Missouri, which is just a little bit to the north of Oak Grove, and on a family farm. We had 40 acres, and yes, as a child, I raised pigs for 4-H, and I was all that country girl. Raised horses since I was 10. Did all that kind of stuff. So that's the only place I was ever at until I went off to college, and then ended up here in Blue Springs. So just a little country girl.
So lots of hard work growing up as a kid?
Absolutely lots of hard work. So I definitely learned work ethic. It was kind of funny. My brother didn't really like farm life, and now he lives in California. But I was a farm girl, so I was always out with Dad doing stuff, building fences, working cattle and hogs and the horses and those things. And my brother tended to be inside. He would rather be inside doing whatever my mother wanted him to do, because he just did not want to be outside. So, he would haul hay and stuff, which I did too, but it was never his passion. I really like the outdoors, so that works for me.
That's cool. All right. What did you do before you got into real estate?
So before I was in real estate, I actually have my master's degree in social work, and I have a bachelor's of family science and family studies. So I was actually a licensed clinical social worker working in private practice for about 10 years before I came into real estate. I was doing intensive crisis intervention with families in their homes. So basically I would get a referral, and usually it was kids coming out of hospitals or parents coming out of mental health hospitals, and my job was to try to keep them from going back in the hospitals. Lots of suicide work, abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, everything you can imagine I dealt with.
Yeah.
So it was high crisis intervention, and it was really cool. I really liked it a lot.
Do you find that you're able to use some of your skills that you learned there in real estate?
The thing I think is interesting in real estate is if you were to walk into a real estate office and you're walking up and down the hallway, you see these agents losing their minds, getting all worked up over, a deal kind of going wrong. And I think the one thing that helps me is that I have a different perspective on what bad is, or what trauma looks like, or stress looks like. So I'm able to keep that in check really well.
Yeah.
So when my deals may start to waver, or we're having a struggle with a seller or a buyer or another agent, my training allows me to stay really, really calm and communicate through those stressful situations in ways that I think benefit everybody. So there's a variety of things. The communication factor, negotiations. You wouldn't think about it, but my whole career as a family therapist was really about negotiating things constantly.
Yeah.
So it really helps. I think I have a different understanding of relationships and people, and I can read people really well. So it's been a good fit. I actually use my skills probably multiple times every day from my past to this job.
That's great. Why did you decide to get into real estate?
So I didn't exactly just decide to get into real estate. I loved being a family therapist. I loved my clients, and doing that work was inspirational, and I think it was what I was kind of designed to do. But I ended up getting an autoimmune disease. I was diagnosed with lupus, and I had been really, really sick for about 3 years, and had stopped working because I couldn't see my clients. I was pretty much homebound for about 3 years. And once I finally got a little healthier and got on the right medications and diagnosed correctly, my doctor kind of said to me, he said, "Tricia, you've got to give up something." He says, "You're the mother of 3, you own this big farm you're taken care of, and you're doing a high-stress job." And I said, "Well, can I give up the kids?" And he laughed at me and said, "No." So I just had to weigh back those decisions and say, okay, as much as I love that career, what can I do that's a little less emotionally draining? Because that's something that I have to really watch. I have to watch my stress level and getting so drained that I just can't function. So I had to sit back and I thought, well, what do I like other than this, other than being a therapist? And I said, well, I love people, and I've never been one to sit behind a desk. I like to be out and going, so I was thinking people and being out in the community. And I also have always loved remodeling stuff. So I was always building stuff as a kid, like building barns and designing things and just hands-on kind of stuff. And I remodeled a house on our farm that we had in Odessa, and was part of the construction of our house that we built in Odessa. And so I thought, well, maybe real estate's a good idea. And it just happened to fall into place because our team owner, Phil Brasel, was actually his family was boarding some horses out at the farm, and his wife says, "Oh, well, my husband's in real estate." So we got to talking, and it just felt like it was the right thing to do at that time, and it was the right fit for me, and it's been a blessing for sure.
Good. All right. If you could only have 3 apps on your phone for business, what would they be?
Mile IQ, so I can track my mileage, because I was horrible about that as a therapist, and I was horrible about that as a real estate agent at first, and that is a godsend for me. The other apps, I actually love our Home Spotter app, just because I can just be in a neighborhood and I can click on it and I can find what's pending, what's sold. I mean, I use it every day. So when I'm doing showings, I actually, before I even see my buyers, I click on that and I know all the data that's in that area. I love that app. So that one's great. And the other app that I would use, what's the ones? Well, I love some of our organizational apps like SkySlope and Dotloop.
Yeah.
So I like those apps because I can literally get an email that has a file attached, and instead of having to worry about going to the computer to deal with it, I can just click on it and send it right to our organizations. Because I really like to be organized. I'm pretty anal about my files and everything being orderly. So that one's an important one to me, just to be able to do that.
Yeah. And we're working in our car
all the time
in front of a house.
Right.
Yeah.
all the time. And that way, I'm not going home later and I have 100 emails that have come in since that one. Mm-hmm. So I'm not losing track of things, and that's really important to me.
Yep. All right. What is the biggest misconception people have about our job?
That that we're getting paid for doing nothing. Mm-hmm. It's like that everyone thinks that it's just super easy and simple. And the one thing I learned really quick is there's so much behind the scenes that we're doing constantly. I mean, it seems like we're constantly putting out fires. We're constantly working those negotiations that are a lot more complicated than I think the general public sees. Dealing with inspectors and appraisers and, difficult sellers or difficult buyers and lenders, sometimes there's just so much that we're doing that we don't even necessarily share with even our clients, because there's certain things that we put the fires out and we don't need to stress our clients out about. So we take on those burdens and we take on that stress and that load. And I don't think people realize that. And they also don't realize how many deals go south and how many deals fall apart that we work hours upon hours for, up into the day of closing on a listing. And then that buyer's agent calls and says, it's a no-go.
Yeah.
And those things, that's hours we spent working. And people sometimes don't think about that when they think about those commission rates and those things.
Right.
So
I know one thing we're really good about, on our team, and a lot of other realtors are, is we always seem very cool under pressure.
Absolutely. Yeah, we try to stay pretty chill.
Yeah, because we have to, we don't want to stress everyone else too. Okay, so now on to some fun questions. What is your most hated household chore?
My most hated household chore. I hate folding laundry. Like, if I could just throw it in a big basket and leave it and pull it out like I did in college, I would still be doing that. Luckily, though, I have 3 kids, and 2 of them are getting pretty darn good at laundry, so I'm starting to pass that along. Now, they're not very good at folding it, but it gets done.
Yeah. Yes, laundry would be my most hated, too.
I don't mind doing it, putting in the washer and throwing it in the dryer. I just hate pulling it out of the dryer and folding it.
Yep. All right. And let's see. If you had $100 to spend on anything, a guilty pleasure, whatever, what would it be and why?
$100. Gosh, you didn't give me much money. $100, I would probably actually just take my spouse out to dinner.
Yeah.
That's just what I would do. That time together is important.
Yeah. So that's it for my questions. Hope you guys got an opportunity to know us a little bit better. And thanks so much for tuning in to our Brasel Real Estate Broadcast.
Thanks again.
If you're in the market to find a home, refinance your existing home, or thinking about a reverse mortgage, contact Deb Brasel at Motto Mortgage Heritage. Deb's an award-winning mortgage broker who's been in the mortgage business for almost 20 years. Contact Deb today to get pre-approved at 816-678-9283. Deb Brasel is a licensed mortgage broker, NMLS number 299821. Motto Mortgage Heritage Office can be located at 1900 Northwest South Outer Road, Suite 209, Blue Springs, Missouri, 64015. Office NMLS number 1720438. Each office is independently owned, operated, and licensed. Our friends at Homestead Inspection Company have been serving the Kansas City metro area for over 27 years. Homestead's inspectors can help you take control of a real estate transaction by helping you identify potential problems, survey the property overall condition, consider possible repairs and upgrades, help discover environmental hazards, take measure of your investment decision, and experience confidence and peace of mind during negotiations. Homestead covers inspections for seller pre-inspections, buyer home inspections, multifamily, and commercial property inspections. Contact Homestead today at www.homestead-inspection.com or 816-833-1090 for all your inspection needs. Thanks for listening to the Brasel Real Estate Broadcast with the Brasel Real Estate Groups at RE/MAX Heritage. If you like our show and would like to keep up with our upcoming episodes, please like our Facebook page, the Brasel Real Estate Group, where we go live every Wednesday. Or you can find us on YouTube at the Brasel Real Estate Group page. To find out more about our real estate services, you can find us at www.braselrealestategroup.com or contact us at 816-897-5151. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great day.